It's been a busy start to the January transfer window. How do you assess the business done in the first 10 days?
I think it's been good. I think 10 days is probably an understatement in terms of the work that's happened ahead of the start of the window. I think transfer windows are always interesting because it's I think you kind of go through two little cycles in the transfer window. There's a flurry of activity at the beginning, and it's a lot of the work that's happened previously, kind of sort of the paperwork gets taken care of, and then there tends to be a bit of a lull, and you then start working with some of the players that may have a few options, or some of the harder targets like the forwards tend to be in January, etc. So it's now a case of continuing to work on those and seeing what happens as we go along, and we all know what the end of the transfer window is like on the last day. Is normally the last few days are normally very busy.
Yeah, so this busy start then really it's a testament to the homework that James, Andy, Melville, the scouts have all put into the last few months getting us ready for the opening of the window.
Yeah, and Jimmy and the coaching staff as well. Absolutely. I think always been pretty upfront in terms of looking to add to the squad, and I think league table doesn't lie, and we are where we are, and we needed to improve in a couple of areas where where injuries have maybe hit us, or the squad was slightly unbalanced at the beginning, but I think we've addressed a couple of those issues, and I think Jimmy wants to continue addressing those issues as well. And I think we've shown that we've shown some ambition as well in terms of the fees, etc., and the access to funds for Jimmy, and I think he's alluded to that, and we haven't had to a squad is a strange animal, especially for when a new manager comes in and he's not brought all the players in. It will evolve over a bit of time, and sometimes quicker, sometimes slower than other times. But the squad's important, and the fact that we've not had to let anyone rush anyone out the building has been a good sign for us as well, in terms of having the ability and the funds to do that. So that we have got a big squad, and that will get trimmed down, but it'll get trimmed down more on our terms than anything else. And I know Lewis and Ryan left us after short-term contracts, but that was probably part of the plan, or if they'd done really well, we may have looked at it. But I think it's important for Jimmy now to put his stamp on it, and we're encouraged with what's happened so far.
Touched on it earlier, but as we move into the middle phase of the month, safe to say that talks are ongoing with a number of targets.
Yeah. I think James, Andy and Jimmy are working incredibly hard, and especially looking at the forward areas of the pitch, I think are an important area for us, wide and forward. And unfortunately for Aaron, he's had a bit of a longer term injury, which was because he was starting to form a bit of a partnership with Ash, we think. But it's a tough one for him, but it does also change the way we're thinking a little bit, and I think we'll be looking to bring a centre half in as well, sooner rather than later probably, and see where we go from there. But definitely the targets are, we're also got to keep an eye on next year, and not just bring in short-term targets, we'll also bring in some that will help us next year and get us out of the trouble, in terms of relegation right now, and then improve us next year.
Have you noticed when talking to possible signings and potential targets that the lure of playing for Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank is a pull?
Oh, I think so. I think all the players have said it as well since when they've joined. I think people get in front of Jimmy, and just his name has been impressive, and some of the targets we're talking to, I don't know if we would have got them or even be talking to them if it wasn't for Jimmy. So I think it's good, and Jimmy's a hard-working and is a decent fella, so who wants to do well here at the football club, and he's enjoying his time here, and we'll support him as much as we can as he brings players in that will get us up the table.
Yeah, you mentioned it also earlier, the complexity of a squad. It can be a difficult thing. It isn't just a case of bringing in a whole heap of players and throwing them out on the pitch. They're here to help and to supplement and to boost the current players that are already here, and to bond them and merge them together.
Absolutely, there's a bit of everything that happens in this window, and you've got to remember it's not just about us as a club. In terms of, whilst we will have the final say, players will want to. Players are coming to the end of their contracts. Some players have got 4 or 5 months left of their contract, so to the end of this season. So they'll be looking forward, and they'll be toying with the idea of will they get a contract here, or you know, are they best to look somewhere else, you know, for a longer term, and they may come to us at some point and have that conversation. And we've been doing this a long time. We're grown up enough to have those conversations with players in terms of, you know, moving in, moving out, etc. And you know, we'll look at each situation, but in the end, it has to benefit the football club, and that's the key to it. You know, decisions that are made are always in the benefit of the football club, and you know, and we look after our players here. That's why players like to come here. That's why players will come here, and because we've got a reputation of looking after people and you know, and taking into consideration, you know, what's fair and what's reasonable.
Just finally, Kelvin, leaving the January window to one side, the latest on the East Stand?
Yeah, you know, I think Christmas came at a rough time, a poor time for us, really. We've made a lot of progress, and I think we were very close to, you know, getting something agreed. And I think we're basically there. I think it's just now just a case. I think Christmas, you know, the council sent us something just before Christmas. We sent it back just before Christmas, and then I think it's just a case of getting that, you know, dotting those I's and etc. So I think we're close. I think Christmas just delayed things because, you know, a lot of things shut down over Christmas, lawyers and council and ourselves a little bit, because we had so many games and everything got so busy. And I think it's been a really busy Christmas period and holiday New Year period for everyone. So we're now getting back into the swing of it, and I think we're really close to getting the final agreement and being able to push forward.